everyone, and welcome to blog 64 of Tackle the Feelings Before the Behaviour. And so in light of the coronavirus and everything going on in the world in 2020, I thought I would do another video on fear, but this time it's a straightforward how to regulate fear and anxiety. And this is for you as an adult or someone who doesn't have children, or for parents with children who are wanting to help regulate their children as well. Human beings are human beings. The difference with kids is that you do this for them, you teach them how to regulate, and they internalize and adopt these skills for themselves. So these kind of lessons are very similar to what you will do for yourself as well. So understanding it from your own perspective or from the adult perspective is very helpful when you're trying to help your children if they're a bit anxious or have fear responses. And this is not just from the coronavirus, this is any form of anxiety. Anxiety comes when we don't feel secure, stable, in control, and safe. Safety is a big one. And so this could be on many different levels. It can be on emotional levels, mental levels, physical levels. Your physical safety could very well, for instance, with the coronavirus, very well be at risk. So it's fear, but there is a legitimate cause for your fear. Other fear we see looks like it doesn't have a legitimate cause, and that's because it's coming from a place of trauma, of trigger. And so we are reading something in the situation where it's triggering something that's happened to us in our past. So anxiety, the benefit of fear as a core emotion is to help us to protect ourselves against threats, against danger, against things that are going to harm us in some way, often physically or emotionally. And so, for instance, when you think about when we get scared or when we start to feel anxious, often it can be telling us that our energy reserves are really, really low. We're burning out, or people around us are very toxic for us. They're draining us. They are taking too much of our resources. And when we start to feel anxious, we're at that warning level, the reserve in a car, gas tank or petrol tank, whatever you call it in your country, when it goes red and it starts telling you you've got this amount until your car's going to stop. That's the same thing with us. Often it's the anxiety is actually a warning sign more than we tend to think of it, and maybe mental health practitioners would argue this, but in all honesty, the ones I've spoken to wouldn't disagree. Anxiety is like a coping mechanism. It's a defense mechanism. I describe it, and if you've followed my Facebook page, I did a little diagram with this man with this sort of shock, sort of aura wall around him. And inside that wall, I put inside your very core is your shame, your vulnerability, your difficult emotions that you haven't processed yet, which means they're trauma. And so it's too vulnerable for anybody to come in there, for you to allow anything else to come and stimulate you when your reserves are on low and you've got your wall up. So in this state, you are producing a lot of adrenaline, your thinking, your neurofrontal cortex switches off and away, and you switch into your brain stem, which is predominantly your nervous system. But this is much quicker. As you've seen in other blogs, I describe it when you put your hand on a hot stove. If you were to go through your thinking, your hand would be burnt to smithereens. But instantly it switches into your brainstem, your nervous system, and your hand is moved before you even know what's going on. So this is a much more efficient system. Unfortunately, it takes away things like our rationality. It takes away things like our memory and those higher level functionings that help us to sort of reason and calm ourselves down. So we get into this walled state now. Something's triggered. We need to protect ourselves, protect our vulnerability, protect our energy, protect our safety, our physical safety. It depends what the trigger is, what's making you feel anxious. But anxiety in general is your armor. It is your armor. And unfortunately, it's locking everybody out and the other external stimuli out. But it's also preventing you from getting that sort of support. So this is a very lonely place to be in. When you're highly anxious, people drain you and irritate you and don't get it, but all you want is to be seen, heard, understood, for someone to sort of take over, rescue, just make it feel better, just feel safe again. And so when you're in this state and you've got adrenaline, your adrenals are taking huge strain, you're exhausted. It's an exhausting space to be in. As a parent, you know this. This is really, really exhausting. And so the way we experience anxiety then is in those four things I mentioned earlier: instability, insecurity, feeling out of control, and feeling unsafe. That's how we experience fear. That's how we experience stress, anxiety. Some different areas of that, you might be feeling more insecure than sort of unsafe, or you might be feeling more unsafe than sort of out of control. But they all tie into each other. You will, if you're feeling insecure, you're likely feeling the other three. And so the antidote, therefore, is to create security, stability, control, and safety. That's the antidote. Unfortunately, if we don't know how to do that adaptively, we tend to start creating really unhealthy coping mechanisms. For instance, our need to control. People become controlling of people, controlling of the environments, controlling of their kids, helicopter parenting. They're so terrified of something happening to their kids. And so this need to control kids as well. They get this need to control as well. And they manipulate and they do things trying to gain a sense of peace inside. They're not doing it to manipulate you to be little brats. I was going to say something a little bit un-PC there, but you know what I mean. They're not doing it. That we are all of us, all anxious people, are trying to find a sense of stability, of control, of safety, of security on emotional, mental, and physical levels. And so we often focus on our physical environment here, but really safety comes from within. It's what our minds concocts based on our fears, based on our feelings, and our minds influence our feelings. And so if we can get to a state of being grounded, of grounding ourselves and calming down our nervous system, that is when we feel like we can really rationalize and put things in place that are sensible, that are going to help us. And how to ground ourselves is not an easy process. Simply telling someone to calm down, not an easy process. Taking a SSRI or an antidepressant or anti-anxiety pill also just prolongs the problem. It gives you a bit of a boost if that's what you need. But the reality is, especially if you have trauma, you need to be able to see that, hear that, and recognize that for yourself. If you've got kids, you need to be able to validate. So you're validating for yourself, but you're also validating for your kids. You need to name the emotion, those first two steps. Name and validate. Name the emotion so they understand what they're feeling. It is fear. It's coming from a place of fear. And you don't have to use the word fear. You can say you're feeling a bit out of control right now. Feeling a bit unsafe right now. Things are a little bit not so stable for us at the moment. And really validate that. It's okay to feel these things. You don't want to change them before you have validated, before they understand that you get it, that it's normalized, that it's okay to feel these things. Because a lot of the time, we are panicking. We kind of want to bring people into the panic. And that's what children do when they're tantruming and everything. They're panicking. They are so overwhelmed. So we need to calm it down. If you think of the coronavirus, you need to calm everybody down so that we can all share resources, so that we can all help one another, that we can all take precautions, that we don't start doing irrational things because our thinking part of our brain has switched off. We need to switch that back on again by calming our heart rate down, by calming down our nervous system. So mindfulness, meditation, all those beautiful things, they really do work. But whatever works for you, it might be exercise, it might be creative arts, it might be something like taking a bath with some salts, with nice sort of music on, whatever it may be. You need to calm your nervous system down, and you need to really validate what you are going through, what you are feeling. And then in the guidance system, the third step is guidance. And with kids, you guide them, you reassure them, you tell them what they can do. With you as an adult, I've sort of said here, it's when you bring the rationality in. Once you've actually just calmed down the physical body, the emotional body, without trying to solve problems, without trying to do anything to sort out what you're anxious about. You literally just tend to your emotions, tackle the feelings before the behavior. You want to calm yourself down first. You could need some counseling, some help. I offer WhatsApp services as well. I'll include my number and my email address in the comments below, in the write-up below. But, just to get some perspective, to help you to ground, to get down to a level of calm, where you are letting your nervous system know that you are safe, that you are in control, that you're stable and secure. So you've got to give that message, and how you feel those things, what brings you those feelings of safety, security, and all that is going to be different for different people. You've got to figure that out. But understanding what's happening to you is key. It really is key. And so with children, it's the same thing. You need to help them understand what's happening to them, recognize it, make it okay. And what do we do for fear? What do we do for the situation we're in right now? With the coronavirus, you can only control your reactions. You can only take those precautions. You can only focus on sort of the things you can do, the positive structures that are in place. If you get caught into those spirals and you allow yourself to go into those spirals of doomsday is here, even if doomsday is here, you're not going to be prepared for it in the way you would be if you were calm and if you were rational. So, and you want to help promote that with other people as well. You want to help promote calm. In families, you can't come and try and calm a child down when you are so anxious yourself. It's that safety mask thing again. You put in the aeroplane, you've got to put your own safety mask on first before you help your kids, before you can help anybody. You've got to make sure that you are doing things for yourself. You are self-caring, and doing things to create that sense of stability, consistency, what to expect and when. Letting kids know what they're doing in the day, making plans, making charts, making lists. They work. Creating a calm atmosphere as well in the home. Calming music like reggae with that beat is the same beat as a relaxed heart rate. So you want to just set the tone. You are the model in your family. You are the model in your community. You can only worry about yourself. So I hope that's been helpful today. Like I said, if you need any extra support, I offer phone counseling over WhatsApp. The service is exactly the same as if you were to see me in real life, confidential. All your notes are kept confidentially. It's professional. I'm a fully qualified therapist, master's degree, internship, all completed. And so, I like to help over the phone. I'm very intuitive, so I actually can read you very well over the phone. So if you've got any questions or you'd like a bit of extra support, individual or parenting, family, or just a little bit of further understanding of what I've talked about today, let me know and I will give you any of the information that you need. Take care. I hope this has been helpful. Bye.